Is everything clear? Clear. All right. What about you, Iman?
I couldn't hear you, sir. Can you repeat?
Is there anything that you have difficulty understanding whatever we discussed up till now? Or is everything
No,
clear?
sir. It's clear. It's clear.
All right.
All good.
So Aldefer is completely more cost effective than Maslow. Um, what else? Yeah. So that's Aldefer done. So I've written this down, right, as a rough guide so that you can have a good idea how to kind of evaluate this theory. You might disagree with some of my statement, that's fine, as long as you can justify it. As in, for example, you might not feel it's reductionist, you might feel it's holistic, and that's completely fine, as long as you can justify it. So again, like in abnormal psychology, where you kind of compare one explanation with the other. Over here, they're kind of wanna you would ask you to compare one explanation with the other, and you can compare them both according to evaluation points, as in both are nature, both are like individual. One is deterministic, one is free will. You can do that in sort of comparison, or you can also discuss their contents as well. As in Maslow uh, has different names for them, Algebra has different names for them. Maslow has 5 steps, Algebra has 3 needs. So you can also compare them according to content, and sometimes you can compare them according to evaluation points as well. So point is that whenever you discuss, whenever you read theories in abnormal organizational psychology, uh, summarization, evaluation, and then comparison. So you kind of need to take care of 3 things. How are you going to summarize? How are you going to evaluate them? And how are you going to compare them with other explanations present in that section? No, they will never actually compare one theory with another theory of another section. Both these theories are in the same section, need theories. If we have a cognitive theory of motivation, they will never be compared with need theories of motivation. So like Cambridge, make sure that comparisons happen inside the sections, not cross section. So that's very important for you to know that. All right. Last but not the least, we have McKellen, and his theory name is need for achievement. So 3 need theorists that are coming into play. McKinnon does not talk about self-actualization. He talks about something else. So like McKinnon is gonna be different a bit. See, there's a simple explanation that like people who have low need for achievement. Some people are high achievers because they have high need for achievement, right? They don't want to achieve high. Some people they don't want to achieve high. They're fine being mediocre people. So if you have an employee who has low need for achievement, uh, they might be kind of that they might take an easy task so that they don't fail. They might take easy tasks so that like they put less effort in, or they might even choose a difficult task. Now why would a person who has less n- achievement need choose something very difficult? Because so that even if he fails, he can blame the task for being too difficult, rather than blame himself for not being able to do the task. Like for example, you're going to fail, right? So you know what's going to happen. So because you're going to fail, you're not even going to make an effort to not to fail. So that's how low need for achievement people behave. And that's something really problematic in organizations. And that's something we really need to discuss. And this is the entire story behind why McKellen came with his theory, need for achievement. So McKellen need for achievement has 3 needs. There's need for achievement, there's need for power, and there's need for, I guess, affiliation. So McKinnon need for achievement has 3 components: achievement, power, and affiliation. But McKinnon said that there are other needs as well. your Cambridge syllabus, it kind of limits McKennan's theory into three needs. McKenna gave many needs, right? He gave bunch of needs. But your Cambridge syllabus kind of focuses on these three, and that's fine. So basically, what McKinnon did was very, very different to Algebra and very, very different to Maslow. Even though he came from the same perspective, but he has a habit of doing things differently. He kind of developed a test, a psychological test, known as the thematic A perception test or TAT. TAT, thematic A perception test. What does it do? Well, basically, people are shown pictures, right? Let's suppose you are shown this picture of a man and a woman, and you're supposed to tell me a story of what you see. You're supposed to tell me what what happened before this picture, what happened during this picture, what's happening in the picture, and what will happen after. As in, what happened before the scene, what is happening in the scene, and what will happen after the scene. As in, how the story would end. You're also supposed to tell me what the persons in the pictures are feeling, what emotions, what thoughts are they having, right? So you're kind of supposed to create a picture story. That's fine. But based on the story you're going to tell me, Aldefer is going to find out your needs, right? For example, if you make a story as in like, let's suppose this is a man and a woman, and the man is going to start his own company. He's very, very ambitious, and the woman is supporting him, right? So they're ready, both ready to take risk, but the man is confident that everything will be well, and they will live happily ever after. So in my story, there's a phrase that the man will start his own company, even though it's very challenging, is he's gonna succeed. Start his own company. Now that's something that is very, very similar to person who has high needs, right? So based on the phrase he will start his own company, Aldefer is gonna find out that my need for achievement is high. So basically he will read people's stories and he will find out your needs by going through the stories that you create, because Aldefer believes that whatever your needs are, you are going to portray that in a story, no matter if the story is fake, no matter if the story is about something else, you will portray your needs in the story that you tell in the TAT test. So uh up till now in your Cambridge syllabus, you have always talked about objective test, as in questionnaires that will give quantitative data. This is a test that will get qualitative data, as in people's stories are gonna be different. Ramla's story is gonna be completely different from Iman, and they are gonna give qualitative data. Thematic A perception test does not have a wrong answer. You can create any story. No story is gonna wrong. It's gonna be wrong because our main aim is to find out your needs, right? So it does not have a right or wrong answer, and therefore it is a subjective test. As in, many people will create the story according to how they perceive the story. So there's no right and wrong answer. Hence, is a subjective test, or more specifically, these type of tests where you portray your needs onto something else is known as a projective test. Projector, you know, projector, right? Projector throws the image onto the screen. So McKellen believed that whatever you have, your needs that you have inside, you're gonna project them onto your stories. Again, you're gonna project them onto your story. You're gonna write that down. You're gonna spill it inside your stories, right? So that's why it's a projective test. Uh, why do we use projective test? Because if I ask you, Ramla, what's your need of achievement? Is it high or low? Obviously, she knows that she's supposed to answer high. So she's gonna say high, even though she's lying. But in a projective test, what's happening? You don't know what's happened, right? You don't know how your answer is gonna be evaluated. So you won't be defensive. You won't be faking your answers. You will then try to answer as honestly as possible because you don't know यहाँ पे evaluation का criteria क्या है. So हो सकता है कि तुम्हारा जो answer निकलेगा is gonna be free of biases. So that's why projective tests are good, because it does not tell you exactly what's going to happen. So you don't know what to lie about. So you don't lie about anything at all. You might think कि ये तो सिर्फ story है ना, क्या होने वाला है सर, लेकिन इससे बहुत कुछ होता है. So that's why projective tests are used compared to objective tests. भारत मैकेलन स्टोरी पढ़ेगा एंड नीड्स निकाले. कौन से नीड निकालेगा? तीन नीड निकालेगा. अचीवमेंट, पावर एंड एफिलिएशन. Achievement is, as I said, do you love a challenge or not? Power is, do you love being in control of others or not? I have a question. Ek minute. Kindly repeat the concept projective test again. All right. See, there's objective tests. Objective tests are, it's like you kind of know what's going to happen. Depression का test जो होता है, right? Depression test. If you read the sentences in the test for depression, you kind of know this test is about depression. So whatever the answer that you give is gonna be analyzed in a mathematical score, quantitative data निकल के आएगा, and that's gonna be the result. Projective tests are something different. See, I can ask you, what's your need? What's your achievement need? Is it high or low? I can ask you directly, right? But यहाँ पे scene क्या है कि you might lie because you know कि if you say high, it's a good impression. If you say low, it's a bad impression. So you might say high. So we don't want that. We want your honest answer. तो ये समझो एक तरह के personality test है, like this one. ये तुमने देखा होगा, ये वाला ना, ink blot test. कि like बंदे के सामने ink blot लगाते हैं, पूछते हैं what do you see, and he tells me what he sees. But तो this is also projective test. इसके अंदर क्या होता है कि basically whatever needs that you actually have, you are going to portray it in your story. You're going to project it in your story. You're going to write that in your story, right? If you, because think about it, if I come to you and ask you, tell me a story about this picture, you don't even know what's going to happen after you tell me a story. You just know that you're supposed to tell me a story. अब तुम्हें नहीं पता होगा कि तुम्हारा आंसर किस तरह एनालाइज होगा. You don't, if you knew it, then तुम अपना स्टोरी और थोड़ा केयरफुली कंस्ट्रक्ट करोगे. बट चांसेस आर तुम्हें पता भी नहीं होगा कि ये टेस्ट किस लिए इस्तेमाल हो रहा है, तो you won't lie about your needs. तो तुम स्टोरी जो होगा ना वो आराम से बता दोगे. You won't be defensive while telling the story. So your needs that are going to be portrayed on the story are going to be your actual needs, not going to be fake needs. So that's why we use projective test. तो जब बंदे से अंदर की बात उगलवानी होती है और वी वांट टू मेक श्योर कि कोई बायसेस ना आए, तो वी यूज प्रोजेक्टिव टेस्ट ताकि अंदर की चीज बाहर आ जाए और बंदे को पता भी नहीं चला कि बाहर आई है. सो एक तरीके से इनडायरेक्टली इंफॉर्मेशन निकालना कह सकते हैं प्रोजेक्टिव टेस्ट. ऑब्जेक्टिव टेस्ट डायरेक्टली इंफॉर्मेशन निकालते हैं, लेकिन अगर डायरेक्टली इंफॉर्मेशन निकालेंगे बंदे को पता चल जाएगा तो ही माइट लाई अबाउट इट. प्रोजेक्टिव टेस्ट, there's no chance that you might lie because you don't know what's happening. So that's why you use projective test. Is that clear? All right. अगर फिर भी clear नहीं, like you can ask one question 2 times 3 times, मसला नहीं, like I'll do my best to explain it. All right. So how is Macallan thing used in organizations? See, Macallan's test, जो TAT test है, number one, is very applicable. It's very applicable in organizational setups. कैसे? तुम्हारे कराची में एक हॉस्पिटल पेन है, शिफा नेवी का हॉस्पिटल है. इस्लामाबाद साइड में आर्मी वालों का कोई ना कोई हॉस्पिटल होगा, आई थिंक वो है, और बड़ा वाला है, फॉरगेट दैट, CMH जो भी है वहाँ.
TMH.
सेम है, हाँ. तो वहाँ पे साइकोलॉजिस्ट बैठते होंगे जैसे PNS शिफा में बैठते हैं. वहाँ पे कॉमन लोग भी आ सकते हैं, एंड वहाँ पे कभी कभी वो लोग भी आते हैं हु वांट जॉइन द फोर्सेस. कई दफा एनरोल करते हैं, दे वांट जॉइन द फोर्सेस. तो आर्मी या आर्म फोर्सेस जो होती है उनको बेचती है साइकोलॉजिकल इवैल्यूएशन के लिए या अपना पर्सनैलिटी टेस्ट करा के लाओ, because they need people who are stable. They don't want people who are going to crack under pressure. They don't want people who are going to kill their countrymen for some XYZ reason. They need stable people. So personality test के लिए भेजते हैं. One of those personality tests is the TAT. So we show them these pictures. They constructed stories के बेस पे उनका नीड आता है, क्योंकि आर्मी वाले लोग हैं या आर्म फोर्सेस एंड नेवी वाले, they need certain personalities in their service. They will not want a person who has low need of affiliation. Affiliation मतलब कि people के साथ connected रहना, team player. They want people who have high affiliation, क्योंकि फौज में मिलकर रहते हैं. तो इससे पता चल जाता है who's suitable, who's not. And you can do this in organizations as well. Hiring procedures के लिए, hiring procedures के दौरान if you do this, so you will get the right candidate that you want. Let's suppose you want a CEO in your company, and you're like interviewing candidates, you're doing a TAT on them. A CEO should have, let's suppose, high need for achievement and should have this. May not want to make friends, and that's completely fine. Because CEO sometimes works alone. But let's suppose my criteria is he should have these two things high. So if I conduct a TAT test, I might find the right candidate. So it's very, very applicable in organizational setups, especially during hiring. So again, McCullen's theory is applicable, but it's not cheap. These tests are very, very expensive to conduct because psychologists cost money. So again, McCullen's theory is not cost effective because it takes money to conduct TAT. But so long story short, McCullen's theory is that when TAT test will give you three needs: achievement, power, and affiliation. Achievement, again, loves the challenge. Power is wanting everything in your control, wanting to like control people, wanting to lead people. Uh, Affiliation is like want to make friends with people. So a person may have all of this low, may have all of this high, or may have one high or two low, doesn't matter. You will have bunch of different people coming together. Your job, according to mechanism theory, is to know that we can hire people based on the requirements of the organization by conducting TAT test on them. And that's how it's applicable. McKinnon test. Is a culture bias? Okay, I have a question. Yeah. What's the third need? Affiliation. Affiliation means that you wanna be connected with other people around you. Like team में काम करना है, अकेले काम नहीं करना. Like being social. So affiliation वाले लोग are good in marketing. Marketing वाले लोग, like I would say that they should have high need for affiliation. Marketing वाले लोग people just supervisors होते हैं, like making sure that everyone does their work, might, I would say, can should have high need for power. जिनको उनको दोस्ती तो करवानी है, उनसे उन लोगों से काम करवाना है, दोस्ती बनवाने की नहीं है. So they should have high need for power. uh let's suppose Steve Jobs if he evaluates Steve Jobs, right? So I would say he had high need for achievement because he was always like trying to like come up with better things. So different requirements for different companies. You can do that using the TAT test. So if we evaluate mechanisms, I told you about the application and cost effectiveness already. Nature, nurture, again, nurture, because these needs are innate. You don't learn these things. Every single person has these needs in them. You both have these three needs inside you. अब कितना amount में, yes, that differs, but you have these three needs present inside you. Question: how can this, who has high need? uh how can this be identified who has high need? जब तू स्टोरी देती है ना कोई थीम निकल के आता है. Let me show an example. Let me show an example. हाँ, बैटरी बैटरी TAT. ये TAT है, ठीक है ना. एक क्लाइंट का TAT है. तो बेसिकली the idea is हम उस 10 स्टोरी दिखा दें, 10 stories, right? And 10 stories के बेस पे, let's suppose, तस्वीर नंबर 1 थी, इसने ये कहानी बताई. अब तस्वीर सामने नहीं है, but this is the story that the person told, that the boy is alone, he's depressed, something happened to him, he's now trying to get out of the situation. He will be able to get what he wants in the end. He is alone. So according to this story, this basically मुझे पता चलता है कि स्टोरी के अंदर नीड फॉर अचीवमेंट तो आई है कि बच्चे को अपनी जिंदगी बेहतर करनी है. But the kid also wants to like ये cognizance भी, I told you, like McKellen gave many needs. तुम्हारे syllabus के अंदर cognizance नहीं है, अचीवमेंट है, पावर एफिलिएशन है. तो बेसिक हम क्या करते हैं, स्टोरी पढ़ के एनालाइज करते हैं कि इसके अंदर कौन सा नीड आया. अब ये किस तरह होता है, आप इसके लिए 4 साल यूनिवर्सिटी में गुजारना पड़ेगा, लेकिन दैट्स द बेसिक आइडिया. स्टोरी पढ़ते हो एंड बेसिकली एक मैनुअल होता है, किताब होता है, जिसके अंदर देखे भी एग्जाम्पल्स के अगर अचीवमेंट की नीड आएगी तो उसने कोई ना कोई ऐसे लफ्ज लिखे होंगे जिसके बेस पर पता चल जाएगा. तो ये ऐसे ही होता है. आई होप दैट्स काइंड ऑफ क्लैरिफाइज थिंग्स. राइट. कोई कंफ्यूजन अभी तक? Is the projective test only applied for organization? No, it can be widely applicable for everyone. You can apply it for people who have psychological problems. Abnormal psychology में apply हो सकता है. Yes, you can apply for organizational. You can apply for sports people, athletes होते हैं. Like for example, टीम का कैप्टन चाहिए. कौन कैप्टन बनेगा पता नहीं. चलो भाई टीके मार के पता लगाते हैं कि who has leadership potential, who has high need for achievement and power and affiliation. So this test can be widely used, but क्योंकि organizational psychology है, so we're going to talk about organizational setup के लिए. But देखो मैस्लो की थ्योरी, एल्डरफर की थ्योरी एंड मैकलन की थ्योरी, ये हर जगह एप्लीकेबल है. प्रॉब्लम क्या है, हम सिर्फ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन पर्सपेक्टिव से पढ़ रहे हैं, जब भी मैं बार बार ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बुला रहा हूँ, बट इस एप्लीकेबल एवरीवेयर. Alright. So mechanical theory, again, I told you, is the nature क्योंकि you have these needs inside you already. अब कितना अमाउंट में वो डिफर करता है, लेकिन सबके अंदर ये नीड प्रेजेंट होती है naturally according to मैकेलन. और क्या था, डिटर्मिनिस्टिक वर्सेस फ्री विल, इसके ऊपर मैं आऊंगा. थोड़ा टाइम चाहिए इसके ऊपर बोलने के लिए. Is it reductionist or not? You might say it's not reductionist because he's looking at multiple needs at the same time. He is looking at achievement, power, and relation. So you might say it is holistic in some essence. Uh, individual situational, again, situation नहीं देखते, individual की needs को assess कर रहे हैं हम लोग. So that's why it is individual. Is it culture bias? I'm gonna say जो pictures जो इस्तेमाल करता है ना ये बंदा अपने टेस्ट के अंदर, ये कल्चर बायस है. क्योंकि पाकिस्तान में भी मैं ये तस्वीर दिखाता हूँ, एंड इसके अंदर गोरे लोग हैं, अमेरिकन है, वेस्टर्न है. तो the pictures that are shown in the TAT are culture bias. That's why his theory, या जो भी नीड निकल के आती है वो वेस्टर्न पर्सपेक्टिव से निकल के आती है. तो दैट्स व्हाई कल्चर, अगर हम पाकिस्तानी लोग को इस्तेमाल करना शुरू किया, पाकिस्तानी वर्जन ऑफ पिक्चर इस्तेमाल करते, कल्चर बायस नहीं होता. बट द पिक्चर्स इन द TAT are of Western culture, hence is culture bias. It's a scientific, non-scientific of, even though he has a test, लेकिन there's no way to prove कि भाई need for achievement, power and affiliation actually बंदे के अंदर exist करती है. Science cannot prove that. Science cannot study that. So therefore, it is very very subjective, not scientific. Deterministic versus free will का concept. All right. See, ये जो projective test होते हैं ना, ये तुम्हारे अनकॉन्शियस चीजें उगलवाते हैं. अनकॉन्शियस क्या होता है? There are things that are in your consciousness, that things that you are aware of, as in you are aware of right now. Time क्या हो रहा है? Things that you're aware. There are some things in your pre-consciousness, things that are not in your mind but you can recall. As in तुम्हारे अम्मी का फोन नंबर क्या है, दिमाग में याद तो नहीं आ रहा, अब याद हो गया क्योंकि you made an effort. There are things that you cannot consciously be aware of. चाहे कुछ भी कर लो, वो चीजें भी होती हैं that you cannot be consciously aware of. वो फिर तुम्हारे अनकॉन्शियसनेस में जाती है. वो चीज़ क्या, 5 साल की उम्र में तुम्हारा तुम्हारा कोई मेमोरी है या नहीं, यू माइट नॉट रिमेंबर एवरीथिंग. सो दैट्स योर अनकॉन्शियस में चला गया. ख्वाब जो याद नहीं रहता लेकिन तुम देखते हो, अनकॉन्शियस में चला गया. If you're scared of something but you don't know why you're scared of certain things, traumatic incidents unconscious में से चला गया. Embarrassing memories unconsciousness में चला गया. सो ये नीड्स जो है ना, ये नीड्स तुम्हारे, ये भी एक तरीके से अनकॉन्शियसनेस में. क्यों? क्योंकि जब तो स्टोरी बना रही होती है, ये नीड्स तुम्हारे दिमाग में वो नहीं होता है, लाइक एक्टिवली प्रेजेंट. यू डोंट थिंक अबाउट देम एक्टिवली, राइट? You just write your story and they automatically happen to be on the paper. You don't think about those needs for achievement on that moment. You don't think about power affiliation. जो तुम लिखती हो वो अनकॉन्शियसनेस से बाहर तुम्हारे कागज पर नजर आता है. तो चूंकि unconsciousness आ रहा है, there is no way you can control whatever you write at that moment. So basically, unconscious is not in your control, and projective test kind of extracts your need from the unconsciousness, hence it's deterministic. I hope that kind of makes sense. क्या कहना चाह रहा हूँ मैं, ये थोड़ी बहुत यूनिवर्सिटी लेवल की चीज़ है, but I hope that makes sense. नहीं समझ में आया मुझे बोला, I will try to make it easier for you to understand. Understood. All right, Ramana. What about you, Iman? कुछ मसला है? Yes, fine. Clear. All right. So यहाँ पे मैकेलन भी खत्म हो जाता है, ठीक है ना? So that's like the first three theories for motivation according to need theories of motivation. बाकी अलग theories आएंगे motivation की, but they are gonna be cognitive based. अब वो cognitive psychology के perspective से आएगा. तो that's how you're supposed to kind of categorize your notes के तुम्हें एक section बनाना कि need theories के अंदर कौन कौन लोग आ रहे हैं. तो इस तरीके से तुम्हें अपना नोट ऑर्गेनाइज करना पड़ेगा. और एक चीज तुम्हें बताना था कि there's one paper, paper 4. I don't know कि दूसरे बच्चों के साथ किया है नहीं किया ये, but paper 4, क्योंकि you know what paper 3 में evaluation summary आती है, you guys know that, right? Paper 4 के अंदर जो सीन होता है, right? पूरा पेपर 4 नहीं बताऊंगा क्योंकि अभी उसका टाइम नहीं आया. पेपर 4 का एक सेक्शन होता है जिसका नाम सेक्शन सी, राइट? ये हमेशा पेपर 4 के एंड में होता है. सेक्शन सी के अंदर चॉइस होता है कि बेसिकली तुम्हारा सपोज हेल्थ एंड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, राइट? तो पेपर फॉर सेक्शन सी में चॉइस होता है कि तुम इसमें से इसमें कोई एक करोगे, या तो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का क्वेश्चन अटेम्प्ट कर सकती हो या तो हेल्थ का. दोनों नहीं करने, ऑप्शनल है. बट दैट्स नॉट द इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग. लेट्स सपोज तुम ये करती हो, ये करती हो. लेट्स सपोज वी आर डूइंग दिस. सेक्शन सी के अंदर तो डिबेट लिखना था पूरा लंबा. Maslow's hierarchy of need is culturally biased because it was developed in the US. अब तुम्हें दो पैराग्राफ लिखने पड़ेंगे जो सपोर्ट करते हैं हाँ बिल्कुल कल्चर बायस था, मतलब सपोर्ट आर्ग्यूमेंट. एंड तुम्हें दो पैराग्राफ ऐसे लिखने पड़ेंगे which kind of goes against this argument कि नहीं कल्चर बायस नहीं था. ठीक है. ये पॉइंट कहाँ से आएंगे? दो सोर्सेज हैं, या तो अदर रिसर्चेस या तो कॉमन सेंस. ठीक है. यहाँ पे तुम्हारा ज्यादातर कॉमन सेंस इस्तेमाल होगा. ठीक है. और वो जो तुम्हारे पैराग्राफ होंगे इसका ना बेस्ड ऑन कॉमन रीजनिंग कि भाई फॉर एग्जांपल Maslow's hierarchy of need is not culture bias because every single culture or every single individual in the world, ठीक है ना, would prioritize staying alive on top of other needs, uh, such as we can see from human behavior that people who do not have resources to survive, they might engage in criminal behavior or even on larger scale commit uh, or go to war just because of lack of resources, which shows that the lack of resources uh, kind of related to physiological needs, and a person will try to take care of physiological needs first before anything else. And this proves that it's not culture bias, it is universally applicable. You know, kind of this sort of paragraph. दूसरा पैराग्राफ अगर निगेटिव में लिखना कि नहीं कल्चर बायस है, तो बोल सकते हो यस इट्स कल्चर बायस बिकॉज Maslow's hierarchy of needs prioritizes क्या कहते हैं वही physiological needs, but in collectivist culture we can see self-esteem sometimes as well as love and belongingness take priority over physiological needs, and hence the hierarchy of needs might be true for Western cultures but might not be true for other cultures in the world, and hence it could be stated that it is culture bias. So एक point आ गया for, एक point आ गया against. uh so basically करना क्या है कि you guys now also have to kind of be prepared for these debates as well. Your paper 4 में आएगा. It's like an unseen question which is going to ask you reasoning. uh Basically पूरी it's going to test you कि तुम्हें असल में थ्योरी समझ में आई कि नहीं आई. So अब बेसिकली अब साइकोलॉजी 990 को 2 साल हुए, राइट? पूरे पास्ट पेपर के क्वेश्चन रिपीट भी नहीं होंगे, होंगे भी नहीं अभी. तो रेस्ट ऑफ छोड़ के समझ लो कि हर साल नया सवाल आता है सेक्शन सी के लिए, राइट? बट दैट इज समथिंग दैट वी आर गोना डिस्कस फ्यूचर के अंदर. सो इसके अंदर थोड़ा सा टाइम चाहिए होगा, पर इसका ये मतलब है कि आई नीड यू टू बी completely okay with theories जो हम स्टडी कर रहे हैं, लाइक इनसाइड एंड आउट. कोई भी चीज कच्ची पक्की नहीं रहे, सब कुछ पक्का होगा फिर हम आगे बढ़ेंगे. तो कोई ऐसी चीज़ है जो समझ में नहीं आया, दैट आई नीड टू क्लैरिफाई, और इज ओके, सब कुछ कॉन्क्रीट है, मसला नहीं, आगे बढ़ सकते हैं। और क्लियर मान, आई एम कंफ्यूज अबाउट द क्वेश्चन। बेसिकली क्वेश्चन इज आस्किंग कि क्या मैस्लो की थ्योरी कल्चर बायस है कि नहीं। तो you're supposed to give two paragraphs that says कि हाँ कल्चर बायस है, and give two paragraphs that say कि कल्चर बायस नहीं है। So kind of construct a debate कि भाई कल्चर बायस है, तो बताना पड़ेगा किस तरह कल्चर बायस है, रीजनिंग देनी पड़ेगी, राइट, बेस्ड ऑन योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ मैस्लोस हायरार्की ऑफ नीड। एंड बताना, ये भी बताना पड़ेगा कल्चर बायस क्यों नहीं है, बेस्ड ऑन योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ मैस्लोस हायरार्की ऑफ नीड। तो अभी वी आर नॉट गोना अटेम्प्ट द क्वेश्चन, अभी हम कंटेंट में नहीं है लिखना क्या है, लेकिन जस्ट टेलिंग यू कि गाइस कि ये जो तुम चीज पढ़ रहे हो, ये लोग इस तरह से भी पूछ सकते हैं, इन फॉर्म ऑफ अ डिबेट। बेसिकली ये, लेट्स सपोज ये एग्जाम क्वेश्चन देते हैं कि भाई मैस्लोस हायरार्की ऑफ नीड्स डिटरमिनिस्टिक, ये डिबेट आ गया, तो टू पैराग्राफ्स आर गोना सपोर्ट द डिटरमिनिस्टिक साइड कि हाँ ये डिटरमिनिस्टिक है, एंड टू पैराग्राफ्स गोना सपोर्ट मैस्लोस हायरार्की कि डिटरमिनिस्टिक नहीं है। एंड ये उस वक्त होगा व्हेन यू अंडरस्टैंड द थ्योरी फुली। जब तक थ्योरी पूरी तरह समझ में नहीं आएगा, तुम्हें आर्ग्यूमेंट्स कंस्ट्रक्ट करने नहीं आएंगे, क्योंकि बारीक बारीक चीज़ों से तुम आर्ग्यूमेंट कंस्ट्रक्ट करोगे ना। जैसे फिजियोलॉजिकल नीड जो हर कल्चर में मौजूद है, क्योंकि फिजियोलॉजिकल नीड असल में खाना पीना होता है, तो हेंस इट्स नॉट कल्चरली बायस्ड। इस तरीके से पूरा आर्ग्यूमेंट बनेगा। तो इफ यू गाइस डोंट अंडरस्टैंड एनीथिंग, एक चीज़ भी रहेगी जो आज डिस्कस किया, मुझे अभी बता दो, अदरवाइज वी कैन मूव ऑन। बट दिस जस्ट टू प्रिपेयर यू गाइस कि किस तरह के सवाल पूछते हैं। एक टाइम आएगा जब हम ये डिटेल में डिस्कस करेंगे। ऑलराइट, होमवर्क फॉर यू गाइस। होमवर्क क्या करना है, अगेन हमने पूरे तीन थियरीज पढ़े हैं, मैकलेलन का पढ़ा है, मैस्लो का पढ़ा है, और उसका पढ़ा है Aldefer, right? I want you to compare all three theories together, like two similarities, two difference between all three of them, कि मैस्लो का अल्डेफर और मैकलेलन से क्या सिमिलरिटी है, मैस्लो का दोनों से क्या डिफरेंस है, अल्डेफर का दोनों से क्या सिमिलरिटी, दोनों क्या डिफरेंस है, उसका दोनों से क्या सिमिलरिटी, क्या डिफरेंस है। तो like like what you're gonna give me 6 points, two points for every single theory. Is the homework understood? uh, all right, ठीक है, तो I will send this slide to you guys in the group. I'm gonna sign off now, मैं ये lecture जो है फिर बाद में ड्राइव में अपडेट कर देता हूँ। तो I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow. क्या टाइमिंग्स होंगी, that is I'm not confirmed yet, तो तुम लोग से confirm कर लूँगा, just like I did before। अभी confirm नहीं, but routine में आ जाए तो it's gonna be set। तो अभी टाइम confirm नहीं है, but I'm gonna have one more class with you, डेढ़ डेढ़ घंटे का, rather than 1 hour वाला slot। Is that fine? All right, I'm gonna sign off now. Take care, guys. Allah Hafiz.